Okay, I am back again now for the fifth leg of my flight, which is going to be from Little River, Mendocino County Airport in California to San Francisco International Airport. And I'm just going to go ahead now and start to taxi because I want to fly out over the water. I did refuel my tanks, and it's just about 2:10 p.m. I am hoping to arrive in San Francisco before. Yeah, I should be able to before it gets dark. I want to kind of go out here a little bit for the big turn onto the runway. Oh, this is a long airport, long runway. Go ahead and make the turn onto the runway now. Get things lined up right here. It looks like I am pretty well lined up. Let's look out the window. We are set for takeoff. I'm gonna save my state here. It's because I like to line up whenever I land at an airport. I like to make a save state for it, so I'm just ready to go anytime I want to take off from this airport for future flights. I'm going to raise up my flaps. And go ahead and max my throttle. I have liftoff. Look out the back. This was a good, decently wide runway at 147 feet wide. So I'm still learning the dynamics of everything in this simulation, but that was relatively easy to fly into, to land at. Here I'm going to go ahead and begin my turn south. One thing I just remembered, I haven't done anything with the communication, the radio. I should try to I should try to incorporate that into this adventure. I'm flying out over the water now and headed south to San Francisco. With 2 full tanks of gas. There's the airport, Little River. That's back north. Now I'm looking south. So this is going to be probably a bit of a longer one. Maybe. I don't know, it may only take an hour or so actually. We'll see. I'm gonna go ahead and dial in Sausalito and see how far I am from there. Maybe I'll try Point Reyes first. On my nav radio frequency. Point Reyes 113.7. Not getting anything on that right now. So likely I wouldn't even be in range of Sausalito. I want to be careful here. I always keep gaining too much altitude. And I have to come way back down again. I'm gonna go ahead and look, because this is going to be a part of the journey where within the flight simulator, where I go from a scenery disc to another scenery disc, and this is the one and only star scenery disc that was ever created for San Francisco. San Francisco is included on this scenery disc, disc 3, but it has virtually no scenery at all. So I want to fly into an area that has like scenery. So that basically on the scenery disc here, it's just flat. There's no buildings, there's no bridges, there's no mountains. There's only airports and water. So when I start to get close, I want to switch over to that star disc, but I'm not sure when I'm going to do that. So I'm looking at the maps now, kind of compare and contrast, because I definitely do want to continue to stay on here because that star disk doesn't really cover much area. So I'm just looking things up right now. Okay, there's my map. So it really kind of only, it's just kind of barely north of Point Reyes, where the star disk picks up. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that dialed in for Point Reyes, my navigation. But I'm still not registering Point Reyes yet. I'm looking at this star disk, and it just doesn't have, well, I guess it does show some information about, what's really important to me is to know the runway headings, just so I know how to approach the runway. And unfortunately, the older scenery discs, like the stock ones and the style of the maps for the San Francisco one, which is similar to the stock ones, it doesn't show a lot of that information. It doesn't show things like every heading for every runway, whereas the scenery disc maps do. Every runway, you know exactly, you know more information about the runways. So that's one difference. It does look like I do have some info here on the San Francisco heading. Looks like there's a 28 runway left. Oh, there's a 190. There's a 190. Okay, there's a few different ones. I'm not sure which one I want though. $280 or $120. I think it was the right runway that I've landed at before. I can't remember. They're both going to be on the same heading though. So about 120. I still have a ways to go to get there though. Oh, I didn't even notice this DME picked up, my navigation picked up Sausalito. And it is one advantage of flying down the coast, because I can use the coastline as a navigational aid. And I already know I'm headed roughly to that 132 heading. I'm at 142. I kind of want to be out over the water though, just, I don't know, just because. Another cool thing about the scenery discs is that the maps for them are more accurate to the terrain that is shown, that is actually in the simulation. So it's a little bit more angular, but it reflects what you actually see on the screen in the game a lot more closely. The other style of maps that come with the stock areas, and some of the other ones too, like the Star one is like that too. They're kind of more like realistic maps, but they don't really always reflect what you're going to see in the simulation. So I like the more digital style, just because you just have a better idea where you are based on these maps. Like, I don't know if you can see, but like that little point right there, if I look on here, it kind of looks like that point right there, and that's Little River where I left. So I'm, probably somewhere in between, and so it's just, you can kind of see those kinds of things. And then like that's probably Point Reyes right there, as you can see that piece of land jutting out right there. So these maps are a lot more helpful in that regard. I think they just did a better job in the later stages of developing these discs and things like that. Just curious, if I line up the head of that landmass right there, if it's going to show me well, I guess Point Reyes isn't exactly on the point. It's the VOR station is probably further inland. I would have to turn east to 130 to line up with it exactly. It doesn't really matter. I kind of want to eventually fly a little bit east anyway, because I want to be able to see like the Golden Gate Bridge and fly over that in like downtown San Francisco as I come into Seattle International. San Francisco International. But I'm just kind of using that to gauge how far out I am. And I am, as I hadn't really noticed or really taken note of, it's just under 60 miles from Sausalito, or Point Reyes, I mean. And I've got another, geez, I don't know, 20, 30 miles south to San Francisco Airport. So I have kind of a long one ahead of me here. Okay, I'm 46 miles out from Point Reyes. I'm gonna turn my heading a little bit towards Point Reyes itself. Actually, I want to dial in Sausalito at 116.2. Oh, I've got something coming up right here. That looks like Santa Rosa, maybe? It's probably, that black is indicating a town or city. And this is showing 60, just under 65 nautical miles from Sausalito. On a heading of 124. I eventually do want to probably go make my way to that heading, but I still want to kind of stay out over the water a little bit. And Sausalito is pretty close to the bridge, to the Golden Gate Bridge. That must be Santa Rosa right there. Well, there's actually no, that must be Santa Rosa off to the left. And I believe there's an airport, a couple airports there that I could land at. And there is something else out here, I'm not sure what that is. Okay, I'm starting to wonder if this water up here isn't actually part of the bay that I'm already seeing. I think it is. And so this would be Point Reyes out here. I'm not exactly sure yet when I want to make the transition over to the star disk. I probably should do that about now. I'm just curious to know when mountains start to show up. Things like that. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that now and see what happens. Let me just go into here, see what my save states look like. Save that state right there. And okay, go ahead and go into the editor. Do I have it in here? I believe I do. I think that's where I got in this download. Let's see if that works. Okay, I don't know what I'm looking at here. It's still got me in the other. I think this is the same. Okay, this is different. Whoops. Wait, what am I doing? I think this is different because those cities and things aren't here. So well, maybe they are. I'm not sure. Oops. I am not exactly sure. A lot of this stuff doesn't look that different. There's a little bit of altitude here. Where do I see when I go up here? It's really hard to tell. I'm gonna go ahead and dial in San Francisco because there is no San Francisco VOR. Well, maybe there is. Let me make sure. Yeah, Scenery Disc 4 does not have a VOR for San Francisco, but the Star Disc does. So that would be a good test. That would be a good test, because if I can dial that in, and get a reading, then I know that that I'm in the correct disc. So that will be 115.8. Oops. And I don't have anything. Okay, that's not a good sign. I don't think I'm that far away. Maybe I am. Not quite at Point Reyes yet. Actually, I was wrong about this water. I think that is part of maybe somehow part of this land situation here. I'm trying to compare it. I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking at here. What do I do here? Do I want to try to mess with loading a different disk? Just want to do an experiment here. That is the star disk that I'm supposedly loaded in. I have another version of it right where? Where do I have it? Oh, right here. Okay. So it does look a little bit different. It's pretty much the same though. I think, oh, what's this? Oh no, what happened? Things are going crazy. Oh, it's glitching out. Oh, this is not good. Just crashed on me. Okay, well that's that's not cool, but I did save just before all of that happened. I saved my state, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go back to that. It did refuel me. That's unfortunate. That's gonna happen anyway though, because I was in edit mode. I think that I am in the proper disk though, because this looked very similar. I just don't know why it freaked out like that. I'm gonna go ahead and put San Francisco in the other one. I mean Sausalito. Although actually I don't know what that's gonna do. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and get on a heading of 120. Should be lined up with Sausalito and basically coming out. Well, I want to go actually a little bit east of that. I don't really know what I'm dealing with here. So I almost, maybe I am still too far out to see mountains. I can see some black coming in to view for probably San Francisco. mean, I can see it. This makes me feel like I'm still in scenery disc 3 though. Because that's kind of what that disc looks like. This makes me, something doesn't feel right. State 4. I am going to try something different here. It may or may not be a mistake. I'm not really liking this. My plan was to actually, so I'm not paused. So I'm gonna first of all, wait. Maybe I should just be more patient, because maybe it needs to, maybe I have not actually crossed the sectional boundary that would actually take me into the star disk in order to load the scenery for that disk. And maybe that's all that's happening, is that I do still have disk 3 loaded. I'm getting really close, and I feel like I am in the boundaries of what should be the star scenery disk. Let me go out here, just try this again. This is it right here. I don't know, should I ride this out or should I try this other thing? How far am I from Sausalito? 62. Oh, something just changed. I think I might actually be in the star disk now. So maybe I have my answer. Yeah, this is different. So, okay, well, I might have started that too soon because now I lost scenery. But this is good. This is what I wanted to know. Saying I'm 18 miles out from Sausalito. And it just hasn't drawn enough of the Bay Area for me yet. But this is kind of what I wanted to know. I wanted to know how far out did I have to be in order for San Francisco scenery to start to render. And it doesn't look like there's a good fluid transition from scenery disk 3, at least from this far north, which is still 17 miles out from Sausalito. Which is where I know Mount Tam should show up, and it's not there. That's something right there. It could be, I don't know what that is. That looks like maybe something out there too. Some of the, this is definitely the bay, or part of the bay here, when it starts to go further inland. That's probably Hamilton Army. I'm also going to dial in San Francisco and just see if that's coming up now, since everything else changed over. $15.8. I'm still not picking it up. Oh, there it is. It just came on. Just came online. So I know now for a fact that I'm in the star disk now. And I'm 30 miles out, roughly. I'm glad I waited because I didn't really need to. I had this other idea I was going to do, and that would have been a lot. It is a little bit of a bummer that things didn't draw. The bay, the key features of this scenery disk have not rendered yet, so I just know that I would have to wait until I see them show up here, and here we go. We got stuff. There it is right there. It's exactly what I was waiting for. That looks like Mount Tam to me right there, off to the left. Beautiful. And there's other features, buildings, things up there. So I just know next time, if I were to do this, I would want to wait until I was, well, that's 27 miles out of San Francisco Airport. But I want to, let me see here, go back and look at 16.2 for Sausalito. Which is where it was. 11, so it was more than that. I don't know, what, 13, 14 miles out of Sausalito is probably when I would want to transition, 15 miles maybe, transition out of, change from Scenery Disc 3 over to the Star Disc, and then I would see things render right about at that moment. I do want to lose some altitude. I think I want to drop my flaps, go into slow flight. And there I can see the hill. I don't know if that's called Telegraph Hill in San Francisco. It seems to me that's what I remember it as. I can start to see buildings. I want to kind of fly kind of past the bridge, but it's behind this mountain here, and that's what's cool. This is the kind of stuff that the level of reality that I was kind of wanting to play with on a big journey like this, a big flight. Having to deal with elevated features of the geography. So Sausalito, oops. Let me go for the OR2. I'm going to dial back in San Francisco at 15.8. I have a glide slope too. If I want to use it, I may. Okay, I think I want to pause this because I have to go and actually do some laundry that I forgot about.